I know I haven't done a video on Rachel Zegler in some time, but this, folks, just shows just how detached from reality that her and Halle Bailey, because they're both in this article, truly are from learning to understand legitimate criticism. Welcome back, everybody. It's your pal Orange Hat here to bring you another video. So, yeah, let's get into this article from Newsweek. Total shillfest here. Snow White actress Rachel Zegler had a surprising take on the avalanche of criticism she has faced online. Zegler, who rose to fame in Spielberg's West Side Story remake, has frequently been the target of online trolls taking aim at her outspoken views. Trolls, you say, Newsmax. When the majority of the public are trolls, that should tell you something, because it's the majority of the public that are actually against Rachel Zegler. Hence why her movies didn't do so well, you see. Now, technically, I think Songbirds and Snakes is actually making profit, so she's a one-time profiteer. She'll be a three-time loser when Snow White comes out, I guarantee you. But anyway, she recently sat down with Halle Bailey for Variety's Actors on Actors YouTube series, and the discussion around the trolling came up. You mean the criticisms? Anyway, Bailey was also the center of the social media storm when cast as Ariel in Disney's very terrible live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, when people did not like casting a black actress in the role and accused the Mouse of House of going woke. Well, they've been woke even before they cast her as Ariel, and it's not so much that they cast a black actress, it's the fact that they constantly are race-swapping white people with red hair for people of color. And it's doing a disservice to black people because it's saying you're not worthy of your own character, you're worthy of our sloppy seconds, which is racist in itself. So that's basically what the whole thing was about. It wasn't the fact that she was black and that people hated her. It's that people hated what Disney is constantly doing, which is saying to black people by casting a black person whose character was white originally, that they're not worthy of an original character. Nothing wrong with that. Anyway, it seems that these two people on here are too disconnected from reality to understand that. The pair chatted about how each handled the pressure of how they dealt with trolls. People are so critical and say anything that they would never say to our face. I would say that to your face. I would fucking... If you actually had the gall to stand in front of us or get on a freaking interview with us, I would say that to your face. I would say that you were mistreated by Disney, not by the people who called it out. Now, sure, if there are some racist pieces of shit out there that are making a fuss because she's black simply because she's black, that's fucked up, and that is racist. But the main thing that they targeted was anybody and everybody who made a criticism about her being cast. And it wasn't so much of, when the movie came out, it wasn't so much about her being black, it was the fact that the movie just wasn't good. The acting, the CGI, the terrible songs, and the changes to a story simply because, romance is dead. But yeah. In response, Zegler said choosing thankfulness was choosing peace. A narcissist thinking about peace for all. Isn't that hilarious? I feel so thankful for those moments because it started to make me feel like solid Teflon. If you are that much of an egotistical fool, You need the wake-up call of actually hearing these people and going on with these people on interviews, people like me and others in the community, and actually hearing legitimate criticisms. Because, Rachel, I come from an era in which these sort of criticisms helped improve a person's life. How they helped a person learn that there are better ways to increase one's value and one's skills in order to become better at what they do. You don't like handling that because you're from a spoiled generation that wasn't spanked enough as a kid. Nothing can hurt anyone because they've said the worst that can be said. You just say, thank you so much for this. I have a lot of love in my life and I'm very thankful. We get to do our work and have that speak for itself instead. And your work sucks. Your work sucks. Hate to break it to you, but the work that you took place in, West Side Story, Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, and Hunger Games. Well, I'm not so sure about Hunger Games. I haven't seen it, nor will I want to. I like the original ones instead with Jennifer Lawrence. And that's as far as I needed to go with that story. But chances are Snow White, because of all the shit that you've been spewing in interviews, yeah, it sucks. I'm sorry, but it's just not interesting. Zegler, who is Colombian Polish descent, has also faced backlash for being cast as Snow White. She addressed the hate with Bailey. Obviously, for my community, it's a huge moment, and I hope that it's not one of those moments that we hear about in the news where it's like, oh, the first X amount of years. I don't want to be one of those. Well, too bad, you already are, because you supported that kind of lifestyle. You supported that kind of culturistic bullshit. Oh, it's the first woman, it's the first this, it's the first that. You supported it. And now you're a part of it. And now you say you don't want to be a part of it. That doesn't make sense. Anyway. Oh, and I don't want to be one of those where 25 years later, the next Latina playing a Disney princess. Then make a freaking Disney princess that is Latina. There's nothing wrong with that. Make a new Disney princess that is Latina. Because if you are so shallow, if you are so limited in your way of seeing things that you can't identify with a character based on their morals and their values and can only identify with them if they are the same skin color of you, that says more about you than it says about anyone else. That says you are the racist because you can't identify with a white person. And that is pretty sad in this day and age. We are going back to Jim Crow era, folks. And these actors are the perpetuators of it. They want to segregate themselves because they cannot properly identify with people who are different than them. That is essentially what they are doing. And that's what people nowadays are teaching their kids. Oh, we finally have somebody that is the same color as us. That's nothing but racism. You taught your kids to be racist at a young age. And you say that white people are automatically racist? I grew up judging people by not how they look, but by how they act. Not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And it was a black person's doctrine that was part of that upbringing that I grew up with. Martin Luther King Jr. I never judged a person by the color of their skin. I always judged a person by the content of their character. And the content of Disney's character and Halle and Rachel here are very lacking. But let's continue. Zegler previously received criticism for saying the original 1932 Snow White and Seven Dwarfs was outdated. Yeah. And throughout her public comments, Zegler has said that she's grateful for the opportunity to play Snow White, but that the new movie was taking a different approach to telling the familiar story. No, it isn't. She completely lambasted Snow White. A movie that did more for women than she ever will. She'll never do anything as good for women as the original Snow White movie did. The original Snow White movie showed that a woman can be a lead in a movie and be a strong female character without being a man. Zegler also slammed comments she made, or was also slammed for comments she made picketing SAG-AFTRA strike. If I'm going to stand 18 hours a day for the iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it's streamed online. No, you don't. That's what contracts are for. In New York Times Square in August, some social media users slammed her as being ungrateful. And yes, that is basically what it is. You are ungrateful. If you are saying that you deserve to be paid for every hour it's streamed online, that means you would be a billionaire in like a week. Do you not understand what you're saying, woman? You come across as this very shallow and egotistical twit. Film and animation historian David Lee previously told Newsweek it makes sense to turn Snow White into a more proactive heroine in a modern-day retelling, except that it's taking place in ancient times. It's not taking place in modern day. It's taking place back then when it was a different time, and there's nothing wrong with that. The steady progression of human life stemmed from lessons that we needed to learn back then, where women were, unfortunately, treated lesser. But there's no problem with that, because now, look at where we are. Women are equal, except that they don't want to be equal. They want to be superior. The March for Equality ended in the 70s when women were given that right to be completely equal. Now, does that mean that sexism hasn't propagated from the 70s to today? Absolutely it has. And that is an unfortunate trade-off. Life is full of compromises. But let's continue. Snow White's original absolutely upholds outdated values, depictions, and stereotypes of gender and dwarfism, Lee said, but it's also a story ripe for reassessment and reinvention. And that takes away from the original classic tale that there is nothing wrong with true love. There is nothing wrong with smaller people. There is nothing wrong with any of that. When I saw the Seven Dwarves, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves when I was younger, I thought being a small person was actually pretty cool. I was small myself, but I wasn't a dwarf. But hey, I pretended to be a dwarf. And that was fine. Because I looked up to characters like that. Because they had positive values. If not, what are these live action remakes for? Why do we need to tell the same story again and again if we don't change, adapt, and reflect? It's quite simple. Retelling these stories and reinstituting the values that they express are what will help kids nowadays learn proper morals and values going into the future. Just because a woman needs help does not mean that she is any lesser than a man. Men need help. Men need help when slaying a dragon. Men need help when doing other things. Man complements woman as woman complements man. There's nothing wrong with that. Instead, Hollywood wants to make women don't need no man. And that is a problem because it's sending the wrong message. There's nothing wrong with being independent. However, if you need the help, you should accept the help. It's not making you any lesser. It's just saying that there is sometimes you will need help and it's okay to accept it. And that seems to be the article. But yeah, these two actresses seem so disconnected from reality that they can't understand the basicness or the basic truth of reality. Men need women as much as women need men. Otherwise, generations suffer. Look at this current generation with all the participation trophies and not learning the value of disappointment. These women need to understand that negative criticism and legitimate negative criticism helps a person grow. How do they ever expect to improve if they can't handle criticism like that? I would be happy to have these people online and on my channel to actually explain that. That is, or all the other stuff that they are hearing is only manipulated by the media to say, this is what they're saying. Oh, take it out of context and then everything is racist. That's not how it is. It has nothing to do with them being black. It has everything to do with Disney thinking that making them black is somehow an improvement when skin color shouldn't matter and doesn't matter, in my opinion. If you are a black person, a white person, a Hispanic, Latino, whatever, as long as the story is good and the values and the morals are what you can identify with, that is what makes a good movie. Anyway, folks, that's going to be the video. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think of Rachel Zegler and Halle Bailey being so disconnected from reality? Unfortunately, that is what I get from this. Because they are saying, oh, they're nothing but trolls, they're nothing but racists, and anything that they have to say should be dismissed out of hand, when they are not listening to the full story. Let me know all your thoughts, folks. This has been Orange Hat. Y'all have a wonderful day, and always remember, stay humble.